Welcome to Full Disclosure, where as the podcast progresses, we get more unraveled.
That's good. I'm starting to like doing these segments in a different order than I tell you because it's good for the energy. So I would love to go to Jim's book club, which is special this week because this is a book that it's not paper pasted on another book, not at all. Well, we all have read this book within the last, is it month, I think?
Maybe
But
2 to 3 months. Yeah.
I finished this like 2 weeks
I've
ago.
listened to most books, so I don't always have hard copies. That's why we're doing it.
The Audible book on this also has a good narrator, which is, I think, important.
Is it the author?
I don't know if it's the author. I think this one is because a different one.
I like when the
it.
author narrates.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Jim pitched this book, and then we'll go around and give our feedback.
Yeah, you were asking me one day. I like this author, Cal Newport. He's actually a PhD in computer science and a professor. Forget if it's at MIT, but he writes a lot on kind of productivity and career stuff. He wrote a book I really like called "So Good They Can't Ignore You." And this book, "So the Lost Art of Accomplishment," is basically about being more of a craftsman than anything else. So it's really being like high quality work. So he talks about authors, but it can, creative work requires time, right? And he provides a framework for what it takes to do really good creative work. I think it's, from what I remember, I looked this up right before this because I read this longer than both of you, is basically like clear your schedule to the extent possible, like say no to things, eliminate things, right? Have a sustainable schedule to avoid burnout, hyper focus on quality.
Yep.
Missing one or
Those are
Those are it.
Yeah.
Thank you, internet. So
Yeah, and I think for me, the thing that I'm a very quick paced person, and I like to change tasks a lot and all of that. But the thing that I think really spoke to me here is kind of the intention going into things, right? And taking a step back. So, like, I have made more time for myself to actually read Harvard Business Review and read things that really I feel like challenge me to be a better leader and challenge me personally, because I do think this is a big piece of that is it recognizes that, these projects, it may seem like they happened really fast, right? But they actually happened over the course of 10 years.
I think it's about Miranda was a cool example in the book, right? When he talked about In the Heights taking like 7 or 8 years to come to fruition.
The space between him drafting, what we think of as the same musical as an undergrad versus what eventually went to Broadway. But when you zoom in on the process of making it, it was.
And the different kind of side quests he had in the meantime, which then helped him gather skills and then come back and refine it. And I thought that was a really cool story.
Yeah.
I think for me too, it was what is creative work, right? I think is important. Most people think like you're probably, the most like traditionally creative of the three of us because you're an illustrator, a writer. And I'm not, right? My creative work is more in ideas for the business, right? In putting the company together, new product ideas, new business ideas. And I'm realizing now as I go on, that creates time. Or takes time, right? We recently set a new 2-year goal for the company, and that was something that I had to think about a lot to figure out, right? So there wasn't just go work and send some emails and figure it out. Like it was an idea kind of had to come to me. I had to talk to people. I had to formulate it. And I think what ended up being the goal came to me on a run one morning. Like it was a very random, like I'm finding actually more and more of my like ideas like that are coming kind of mid workout where I intentionally don't listen to anything, don't have any music on, like just have that quiet time in the morning. And it's been super helpful for like kind of collecting those types of thoughts.
The idea of working out without music just blew my mind
a
little bit.
It's like 20, 30 minutes first thing in the day. I don't put anything on. It's the closest I get to meditation. And I love it. It's just like, it's like the dishwasher for your brain a little bit. Like letting those things out. Because the rest of the day you just have
so
music.
Much.
You have so much in your ear one way or another.
So many interruptions to your brain being on one track and focusing on one task. It's just not very realistic. So all the more reason to carve out that space.
I also changed. I've been meaning to post about this. I block my schedule pretty aggressively too. I understand I kind of have more privilege to do that than most people, but I have a schedule block from 8 a.m. to noon and then another one from 4 to 5, which is usually kid pickup. And It's not that I'm not working during those times. Honestly, I will still schedule meetings during that, but I'm the one who gets to decide that, right? So anything that gets on my calendar is from noon to 4, and that time is usually busy with meetings, which is fine. But I have that time in the morning to prioritize on, more in-depth work, preparation for the day, emergency meetings, which ends up being a big part of it, is if I have to meet with anyone last minute, I have that time there ready to go, which is really helpful. So I highly recommend doing that. So I think there'll be a lot of opinions when I eventually post.
Sure. I think it was fascinating to learn, per that book's claim, that the inventor of time blocking is from Philadelphia. It's Benjamin Franklin. Yeah. And that was a really great case study that was about how, Franklin, as a younger man in his 30s, was experiencing what we'd call burnout now. He's trying to open print shops. He's franchising. And, this game changer for him was having one of his managers visit Philly from the West Indies, where he was supposed to be opening a branch, gets sick, ends up working at the Philly branch, but totally just juices operations there, such that it was a better decision to close the West Indies branch, hire this guy to take over. And within a couple of years of Benjamin Franklin freeing up his time, he's discovering, polarity of electricity and all this experience and getting involved in government. And we all know, how that ended. So just it was a powerful illustration, one of many, for how freeing up time, being intentional, working at a natural pace, and make a lot more productivity than what we would traditionally think of as productivity. Running frenetically, getting as many things done, multitasking, 3 monitors.
Kind of the hamster wheel analogy. I forgot what exactly he calls it in the book.
Yeah, and I think too, I think it's important to know that while this book may talk a lot about creatives, he specifically calls them knowledge workers throughout the book. And I think that's a good kind of appeal to anyone who's thinking, you're at this point in the segment, you're like, oh, I don't know if I have the flexibility that Jim has or anything like that, right? I think this really speaks to how you can do it while still not having that flexibility. And I really like that. He does a good job of kind of outlining how you can fit this in your life. So I think honestly, this is, we'll see how the year goes, but this one might be one of my top books.
So I was like, when a recommendation is well received too.
So yeah, Jim recommended this to me. I recommended it to Tim. It made it far.
Yeah, I think I'd read it like 4 days later or something like that.
I think you might have finished it before.
A lot of his stuff is really easy. When I got some of the other books that he wrote, I like him.
Yeah, I took a page literally out of the book, and that your audiobook habit, and I had noise canceling headphones in the wood shop because I was like, ear protection and audiobooks. This is a match made in heaven right now. Yeah,
little bundling.
That's right. It was nice.
Yeah. Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode of Full Disclosure. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We really appreciate it. We like to be able to continue to create good content. And we hope that this is good content. We think it is, but let us know if you don't think so in the comments down below.